Good morning, 9 a.m., 1 degree out there on this Friday morning. Happy Friday to you. It is not too bad on the roads out there this morning. It is bitter cold, but yeah, you can see the thruway here is down to the pavement. It's looking fine right now. This is around Batavia. It was a completely different scene yesterday, though, between exit 48 and 48A, Pembroke and Batavia. This is what it looked like at 1 p.m. A massive pileup involving 25 to 30 vehicles, tractor trailers, commercial cars, or passenger vehicles, I should say, involving, yes, as troopers tell us, 25 to 30 vehicles. Fortunately, no one was seriously injured. But the thruway didn't open back up until about 1 o'clock this morning. It was closed in both directions while rescuers got to the folks who were hurt and also had to clean up this scene. Quite a mess yesterday, all because the roads are so slick. The salt not working in conditions when it is this cold outside. Now, because of the cold weather, Niagara Falls, Lackawanna, and Lockport all canceled school today. But the Buffalo Public Schools, they decided to do a remote learning day today, meaning kids who have laptops at school and Chromebooks could take them home. Others were just given packets of information and of work to take home. And it left some teachers and parents a little frustrated about how much learning is actually done on a remote learning day. And Natalie Foss is looking into that this morning and spoke with the BTF president. Natalie, what's going on?
Well, Melissa, this is kind of a conversation that continues to happen. We hear from teachers and they have frustrations and concerns about what they're supposed to do when it comes to remote learning days. There's questions that if there's any actual learning getting done on these days. And the major hurdle is because of technology. Like you said, some students have laptops or iPads available to them while others don't. And if you do, then they may not have access to Wi-Fi. So that makes it impossible for students to log on. Rich Nigro is the president of the Buffalo Teachers Federation, and he says that the district would be better off having a consistent plan instead of their current plan, which really just allows each school to create their own way of dealing with it.
The frustration is, well, this school over here, they were told to make packets. This school over here, they're asked to do remote instruction. My school, the principal actually popped into all of the teachers' live meeting links, even though there were no kids in them. So a consistent message goes a long way.
We reached out to the Buffalo Public School District for comment, and they sent us a statement saying, quote, "The district allows each school to use the remote learning resources that best meet the needs for their unique student populations. Although it is well known that students learn best when in a school, a remote day allows districts to keep their students safe. And all afternoon activities and sporting events and practices are canceled for this afternoon, but will resume tomorrow." We also have more information on Saturday academies and classes on WGRZ.com. And Melissa, it really it's kind of that push and pull, right? You want students to be safe. You don't want them walking out in these extremely dangerous temperatures, but also you want to make sure that they're actually getting the learning that they need and that they deserve. And teachers just want to be sure that they can provide that learning to their students.
Yeah, and remote learning during the pandemic was different because it was a prolonged period of time. The students were able to get into a routine of this is when I'm logging in, this is what's expected. But a one day of remote learning is hard for everyone to be on the same page of what's really expected from the kids, from the parents, and from the teachers.
Yeah.
And so some say it's just a waste of a day.
I think what was hard, and this was something that Rich was saying, is that the teachers who are giving out the packets, they don't have that one-to-one technology for their students. They found out yesterday that they were supposed to have a remote learning day today, and then they all had to get those packets ready. You have 80 teachers in a school, they need 25 copies of that packet for each student. You're going to have a backlog on the copy machine, and you want to make sure that you're, again, getting good academics out there for the students.
Right, and it's also about counting the snow days that are left. The schools, so Buffalo didn't need to burn a snow day with a remote learning day, and so, you know, I think schools might be trying to use remote learning days next week or the week after when the weather gets really cold again, because they don't want to have to start pulling from the February break or pulling from days toward the end of the year. But you also want the kids to be learning at the same time. It's a really tough decisions with the schools. And we also were really pretty surprised that more schools didn't already call for a remote learning day for today or cancel classes altogether with the cold temperatures. So it really seems like they're trying to save those days now. Tough decisions with the schools, and no one's really going to be happy with parents or teachers or kids. So, all right, Natalie, thank you. Always so much to discuss. We appreciate it. In other news this morning, an update, a convicted serial killer who's already locked away on a life sentence for killing 2 women in Western New York and admitting to killing his own family member, now has admitted to a 4th murder. Yesterday, Richard Fox pleaded guilty to killing 32-year-old Crystal Curthoys in January of 2023. Her body was found 2 years later in a Niagara Falls home in which Fox used to live. Recently, Fox also admitted to killing his own grandmother nearly 50 years ago in the town of Brant. He was only 13 at the time. Because of his age at the time, he cannot face charges related to that murder. But Fox is already serving up to life in prison after admitted to killing Marquita Mull and Cassandra Watson nearly 20 years apart in Buffalo, dumping their bodies near each other on a trail in Chautauqua County. And some believe that Fox likely killed even more people, but their bodies haven't been discovered yet.
We're standing with the victims' families, and now there's 4 that we know of, starting when, he was young, his own grandma when he was 13 years old.
Don't let nobody like this man come and take somebody from your family, because it's hard living like this. It's hard. I miss my sister all the time. It had that been so close to me. It's like I still didn't want to get up and beat him up or spit on him or nothing.
Fox also did years in prison for rape and sexual assault. He's due back in court for sentencing on April 15th. Another big story we're following this morning, ECMC announced it's going to be laying off about 150 workers. Hospital officials say they have to lower their workforce by about 3% in order to offset ongoing financial strains. They cite insufficient funding, reimbursements like Medicaid cuts, as well as increased wages, and the rising cost of operations. The layoffs will affect mostly non-clinical jobs. Management staff will also be furloughed for 1 week without pay at some point this year. Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz says these cuts are part of a much larger issue.
You're going to see a lot more of this. Is ECMC going to close? No, it's not going to close. But there's rural hospitals across our country and even our region that are really at risk of closure because of the loss of funding that's come from the federal government. So this is the first step that you're seeing in the impact in Erie County, but don't be surprised if you see rural hospitals across Western New York start announcing either mass layoffs themselves or closures.
And we are seeing that play out in Chautauqua County. As we told you yesterday, Heritage Village will be closing due to ongoing financial and operational challenges. Well, in response to everything that is happening with Immigration and Customs Enforcement in Minneapolis and in other cities around the country, activists are calling, all right, Patrick, you can walk through. That's all right, no problem. Activists are calling for a national shutdown today, meaning no work, no school, no shopping. They do say that if you need to go shopping, only buy essentials from local places and use cash if possible. Locally, some places like Public Espresso have announced that they'll be closed today in solidarity with the movement. The Lexington Co-op will be giving away free coffee and tea today in support of the movement. And a local bookstore called Afterglow will be donating a portion of their proceeds today to efforts in Minnesota. And the cold, of course, is the big story for today. But also for folks parked on city side streets, some are still waiting for a plow or trying to shovel their way out after the plows moved the snow and packed in their vehicles on the road. It turns out hundreds of you have been telling us on Facebook that you're still struggling to get around because of bad plowing on city streets. Certainly not ideal, and city officials agree, but they say the freezing temperatures have made the road salt less effective for snow melt as well, and that the aging snow removal equipment is another challenge. City officials tell us they hope to buy new blades for the plows this spring and hope to secure funding to buy 6 new plow trucks before next winter. And Patrick talked today about the diamond dust in the air, which is one phenomenon when the temperatures get so low. And our digital manager, Kim DeGeorge, sent us these photos that she took around Canisius College this morning of these like light, I don't know.
It's a light pillar.
Light pillar. Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah.
What are these and why do they come out when it's cold?
So when it's really cold, like you got to be at temperatures near zero, which is what we have. Any moisture in the atmosphere, any moisture kind of turns into little crystallized ice crystals, okay? They're not really snowflakes, they're just ice crystals. But you see them, especially if the lighting is right, just kind of floating through the atmosphere. And optically, they can create these little pillars of light. Sometimes in the early morning hours, you'll see like a street light and then a beam of light shooting straight up. Those are light pillars. Also, you can have these rainbow looking features shooting up because of the way the sun interacts with these little ice crystals in the sky. Kind of like how a rainbow forms with raindrops. You're getting these from little ice crystals. So yeah, diamond dust, kind of cool. Kind of cool. Our temperatures, we're up to 3 now. So it looks like we bottomed out at either 0 or 1 above as your overnight low, 2 below in Olean, 5 in Niagara Falls. So I recently got a text from a viewer who said this has to be one of the coldest Januaries on record. It's not even close. This maybe would make the top 30 coldest Januaries. Not even close. The reason? The first 10 days of the month were so warm. Okay? So even though it's been so cold, the back half of the month, the first half of the month was warm. So this is not going to be anywhere near the top 10 or 20 coldest Januaries, maybe top 30 at that. Okay.
The longest stretches of weather under 20 degrees.
Yes, we're going to go, this will be the second or tied for third longest stretch of days where we failed to reach 20 degrees. Okay, it's half the record. The record's 16. This will be 8 days. So, yeah, it's notably a cold stretch. But in terms of the month itself, again, not terribly cold. We're right now at 2 degrees below average for the month of January. I know, despite how cold it seems. 1 in Jamestown, 3 in Dunkirk. We've got some flurries or light snow coming off Lake Ontario. That's kind of helping to aid in some of these little areas of diamond dust. Here it's actually snowflakes coming off Lake Ontario, and Future Look shows that those will continue, especially in Niagara and Orleans County. Orleans County has a winter weather advisory because of the expected snow, a couple of inches of accumulation. And some of those snow showers will even make it through Erie County. And then also in Chautauqua County, a band of snow coming off Lake Huron and Lake Erie. Tonight, we'll see more widespread light snow. And then for tomorrow, another very cold day. Not as cold as today, but still very cold, and some snow showers as well. There are the current numbers, single digits. We're going to stay in the single digits for daytime highs today. Tomorrow morning, we will still be in the single digits, likely above 0. Tomorrow, low teens. And then on Sunday, mid to upper teens under partly cloudy skies on Sunday. And then, yes, as mentioned, look at this. This is our 8 to 14 day outlook. Temperatures well below normal expected for the east, including here in western New York. So it's not going to get any better anytime soon. Next week we'll be in the 20s, okay? But again, the following weekend, it may get quite cold again. A weather impact alert for today because of the cold. For the south towns in the southern tier, a dry day today, tomorrow, and Sunday. Our next chance of light snow comes on Tuesday. Melissa.
All right, Patrick, thank you. And we have some breaking Bills news to bring you this morning. We have a report from Ian Rappaport, who just tweeted out a few minutes ago, or posted on X this post. The first big hire for the Bills coach, Joe Brady. Buffalo has agreed to terms with Pete Carmichael Jr. to be their offensive coordinator, per the insiders. The longtime Sean Payton lieutenant has been a Broncos senior offensive assistant. He was a longtime OC for the Saints.
And apparently it's just a hat that they hired.
Right. You're seeing what his picture is here. I don't really know much about him, but you know that Joe Brady, he spoke so much about Sean Payton and his relationship with him. So this is another Sean Payton his lieutenant, as it said there.
Lieutenant sounds very military.
I know, but Joe Brady has already said that he will be calling the plays. He will be making those offensive play calls. And so this is, while he is the OC, he's not going to be calling the plays.
Right.
So
he's going to be running military drills.
As the lieutenant. We have a lot more to talk about with the Bills. We will break down the press conference from yesterday. We will tell you what we had to think about Joe Brady, his first impression, hearing from Josh Allen again, and also we redid the poll.
Oh, I can't wait to hear.
So we'll have poll results of what you think of Joe Brady as the Bills head coach coming up right after this. Welcome back, everybody. The Bills are moving forward with a new era. Joe Brady is settling into his new role as head coach of the team. And as you just heard, he selected his offensive coordinator, so for first big move. But his tone and his demeanor, his confidence, his leadership that we already saw.
And his vulnerability.
Yes.
The dude almost broke down, which I kind of.
Multiple times.
At first, I was like, is he going to make it through this? And then he was just gathering himself. And oh, by the way, after he spoke about McDermott, he had a pause. It was probably the best pause in interview history.
Yeah.
Because it showed, I want you to absorb everything I just said about Coach. I thought that was incredible.
Yeah, I have a couple thoughts about that, though, because at some points, the people who were there in the audience were clapping for things that he was saying. Journalists cannot clap, but his family was there to support him and other people in his career. They didn't clap when he had his McDermott spiel, and I was a little upset about that. But he had wonderful things to say about McDermott, and he kind of, I think a lot of people, and I agree with this, he cleaned up some of the mess of that press conference with Pegula and Bean just a few days prior, and he did a great job, in my opinion, of giving McDermott the recognition that he deserved when it came a little too late when Pegula and Bean had their press
But
conference.
how did he? What was his emotion towards McDermott, which was similar in the emotions that he had for Josh Allen, the emotions that he had for his teammates, the emotions that he had for his wife? Love.
Yeah.
He said, I respect Coach McDermott. I love to play from him. I learn from him.
Yeah.
I love Coach McDermott.
This woman named Kathy on Instagram wrote me, and she said, hey, Melissa, I already liked him, talking about Joe Brady, but didn't know much about him. He more than impressed me yesterday in so many ways, but when he looked over at Josh, Spencer, and Max and said,
my guys. Yeah.
And he choked up a little. The writing was all over the wall. He's our guy.
Yeah.
I love that. Kathy, thanks for writing that. But yeah, my guys.
I gotta believe.
It gives me chills.
Totally.
And there's the sports analysts out there who are saying this or saying that. You and I are just like, he's really emotional and he talks with love, and it was genuine. And I loved when Brandon Bean was introducing him. Instead of sitting there, stoic or something, he was standing, holding his son.
Right. There was something.
I just loved it.
I've seen, and you have too, many introductions of head coaches or somebody major with a football team, and they're usually very political almost, and I'm going to be the best teammate ever, and I'm going to turn this team around, and all the coach speak.
Yeah.
He was real and genuine and emotional, and how could you not connect with him?
Right.
And yet, when he looked at his teammates, my guys.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I was very hesitant, and I felt so good about the future of the team after this. We said that about Keon Coleman, though, after his press conference, and he made everyone laugh, and he wore the yellow puffer jacket and ate the cookies, and we're like, oh, I hope that he had such a great, funny press conference, and we hope that he does that well on field. This is what I'm feeling about Brady. He did so well in his initial press conference. I'm just hoping that can translate, and he can have a successful career as the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. But another comment from Lock City Bill on X, he said, yes, I was apprehensive at first and was still upset with the way they treated Coach McDermott, but Coach Brady won me over, and I feel we're on a good path to win it all. So a lot of people saying that. We'll get to the poll results in a minute, but first we want to talk about Brady a little bit more, thanking McDermott for bringing him on board as quarterbacks coach in 2022. And Brady made it clear, while he wants to stand out on his own, McDermott's impact will not be pushed aside. Listen to what he had to say.
Over the past 4 years, I've learned a tremendous amount of things from Coach McDermott. How to lead, resilience, standards. The past 9 years in this organization matter. I'm understanding of that. I'm appreciative of the opportunity to be a part of it. They matter deeply and they deserve respect. I'm so grateful for Coach McDermott. I love Coach McDermott. And I'm going to do everything I can to continue to build upon the things that he laid and the foundation he laid.
Really powerful things that he had to say. Also tough to talk about McDermott when, you know, Bean and Pegula are there listening to what you're saying, so you want to be respectful, but you also need to know that your bosses fired this guy, and so you also, have to toe the line.
But they also didn't say to him, "Don't bring up McDermott." They let you. I'm assuming, say what you want.
Right.
We're not going to edit you. There's no editorial issues here.
So we finally also got to hear from Josh Allen. And I want to play that sound. I want to play the soundbite too, because Josh Allen, first of all, was in crutches. He has a broken foot, had surgery. He should be good to go by OTAs. He said, if I had to play this weekend, I'd be fine. He answered every question perfectly also. You and I were talking about this. But here's what he had to say about the guilt that he feels for McDermott being fired.
I'd be lying to you if I'm sitting here saying that, you know, I feel like I had part in it, because if I make one more play that game in Denver, we're probably not having this press conference right now. We're probably not making a change, and in all honesty, we're probably getting ready to play another game.
Oh, wow! Think about how different this press conference would have gone if it was Aaron Rodgers, right? He was humble. He took responsibility. He was honest, and you loved every word he said. At least I did.
Yeah,
I mean,
he answered everything perfectly.
Right.
So it's great to have Josh at the helm, and I think Joe Brady at the helm too. So we wanted to hear from you, because on Tuesday I went on all of my social medias and I asked all of you to vote in a poll once the Bills announced that Joe Brady is the new head coach of the Bills on Tuesday. 95% of you said wrong pick. Don't like it. Shouldn't be Joe Brady. So I went back on social today and I asked. And there was a drastic change, not 95% anymore. On Facebook, it was about 50-50. I only put this up at about 7 o'clock this morning, so you can still go on and vote now. But it was about 50-50, slightly more leaning no, I'm still not okay with Joe Brady. On X, 71% of you said, yes, I'm happy that Joe Brady is the new head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Instagram, exactly 50-50. So you can go on any of my socials and continue to vote and let me know. But certainly he swayed a lot of people who weren't too excited about him being named as head coach on Tuesday, and now it's Friday, and he's won a lot of Bills Mafia over. However, I have heard that there are some people who have sold back their PSLs to the Buffalo Bills.
Whatever. That's all I have to say about that. Whatever. Go. Good for you. Sell it. And
it might not be the Joe Brady thing that made them sell it back, but the McDermott firing, the Pegula Bean press conference, after all of that, they sold it back. Maybe they want to buy it again.
That's the right. But if they have a great season, are they going to regret that?
Yeah, who knows?
Okay.
All right, we've got a little bit more coming up after the break. Stick around. Welcome back. The Buffalo Sabres keep on winning. I'm just checking the standings right now. Eastern Conference. Do you know where the Sabres rank in the Eastern Conference?
Third?
They're fourth overall in the Eastern Conference. In our division, they're third.
Right.
It's unbelievable. They've won their
They were at the bottom in November.
Fifth straight game they won. This is the second time that they've had 5 straight wins this season. More history last night, though. Alex, it was a good night to be named Alex for the Buffalo Sabres. Alex Tuck had a hat trick last night, but Alex Lyon, goalie, set a franchise record with his 10th consecutive win last night, which also speaks to the Sabres as a whole, too, and the team that he is playing for. But there's Tuck, and he threw his stick out in the crowd afterwards, which is so cool. But the Sabres won last night 4-1.
Cool or dangerous?
Well, no, after the game, like he tossed it so that a kid could have a stick.
He didn't just like hurl
no. It was a nice, gentle toss. So yeah, Sabres played last night, 4-1. KeyBank Center, Tuck with his first hat trick of the season, and Alex the Lion having a great night. Here's what Tuck had to say. Really good interview after the game.
We're trying to prove as a team that we're legit. We're not just going to go for the playoffs. We're going to go for the cup, and that's our goal. To get better each and every day. That's it. That's the end goal. Honestly, we're not in here just to squeak in. We're in here to try to keep winning. We're chasing a couple of really good teams in Detroit and Tampa right now, and we know each game is going to be a playoff like hockey, and it's a huge 2 points tonight to get. And now we have Montreal chasing us, so they're going to come to play on Saturday, and we got to bring our A game.
It must have been electric there last night.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
I know. Oh, I wish we were there.
Yes, Sabres play the Canadiens tomorrow at 7 p.m. They've got 5 quick games over the next week, and then there's a long break for the Olympics.
3 weeks, like 3-week break.
Yeah, for the Olympics.
You hope teams don't get rusty, when they're off for 3 weeks.
I know. They're on such a roll.
Right.
Keep that momentum going. All right. Enjoy your weekend, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Daybreak all week long, and stay warm.